That's a bit boring. I'll fix it. Hold on. It's much better. Hi, I'm GalicEnder. It has finally happened. 2021 is at an end, and now upon us is 2022, with a lot of brand new resolutions and promises. But I want to look back at 2021 and see what it had to offer in one of our favorite hobbies of all times, video games. Now, every title in this list isn't going to be necessarily from 2021. It's going to be my first playthrough, however, in this year, and I believe every good game that I come across deserves a shout out. So, if you don't like everything on this list, that's fine. You're entitled to your own opinion, but just know everything on this list is my opinion. And hopefully in 2022, we can stop having to say this bullshit every single time we make a top 10 list. Anyway, let's get on to the list. Here's number 10. Who doesn't love a good roguelike, especially one with high-paced movement and abilities? Roboquest was a delightful little indie gem that was shown to me by my friend Banana Meep. You play as one of many robots and fight your way through various rooms filled to the brim with enemies and see how far you get, with an ending boss waiting for you at the end of each area. You also have access to a ton of weapons that can be found off your enemies or in little hidden puzzle platformer chambers on the map. Movement is also heavily emphasized as you grind, multi-jump, fly, or heavily defend yourself based off your build. If you're looking for a fun, action-packed game to kill some time, I highly recommend Roboquest. Traditional fighting games have never really appealed to me. I can never get around the weird button combinations, quarter circle inputs, and just finding a character that works for me. These are the reasons why platform fighters like Super Smash Bros. Appeal to me more. Until one of my friends showed me Guilty Gear Strive. Unlike their previous entries, Strive thrives on its simple yet complex combat to be friendly towards newcomers and faithful to their veterans. Granted, there are some in the community that discredit Strive for being too simple, and while I haven't played too much of the previous entries, I believe that in this case, less is more, and the more user-friendly a game is in terms of accessibility and skill curve, the better it can be in the long run. And it's not like Strive is lacking in game mechanics. The in-game tutorials are massive and can teach you the more in-depth mechanics of the game, like the 4 different types of cancels, how these can be applied to combos, and ways to optimize them by working in your specials. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Also, the game looks great. It's beautifully animated, colorful, and the super moves are explosive, short, and intense. And the characters are just jacked as shit. They look like they can take on anything. Except Mai. Everything about this character just confuses me. And the game has one of the best heavy metal soundtracks I've ever heard. It's so good that I just listen to it on Spotify casually. And you know a good way to get bonus points from me is a banging soundtrack. If you're ever looking to get into a more traditional style fighting game, then I recommend you give Guilty Gear Strive a go. The Phantom Thieves we all know and love are back and more explosive than ever. Persona 5 Strikers is the canonical sequel to Persona 5, taking place the summer vacation after the protagonist leaves. Though Strikers continues the Phantom Thieves story, it's also a spin-off title. Rather than being a turn-based JRPG, it's a Dynasty Warriors style game, with large, wide-open explorable maps filled with multiple enemies for you to tear through with your persona. This presents a brand new angle of seeing how the Phantom Thieves really fight. We may have lost the strategic turn-based strategies, but we received a style of combat that really shows off how deadly and stylish the Phantom Thieves can be and how their personas are weaved in. Mechanics that are unique to the original game are still in, like using the correct persona with the right elemental powers to hit your enemy's weak spot. And of course building your 4-man dream team that can change depending on which area you're exploring. You can even still fuse personas and make them more powerful in the Velvet Room and upgrade your weapons and armor by shopping at different places in the overworld. I'll admit though, the combat is pretty brain dead when you can just get away with mashing one button through most scenarios. And there's really no other reason not to play Joker, as his wildcard abilities allow him to switch to the correct persona whenever he wants, when the others are just limited to one. And it feels kind of like it's missing a bunch of substance compared to the original title. There's no social links, not much character development, and it recycles the same trope of kick the ass of the bad guy in the current area and move on. You can't argue that this game being more focused on traveling Japan rather than staying in one place like the original, new characters will come and go more frequently. And the antagonists for each unique area are explained very well. Their stories are heartfelt and just sad. And you know, I need to talk about the amazing soundtrack this game has. I don't know how Atlus gives us all these games with such great music, but goddamn, they just keep slinging out bangers. The music consists of a bunch of hard rock remixes of some of Persona 5's hit songs, and the new style absolutely nails it. And even though this game is practically Persona 5 Lite, I still enjoyed it all the way through, and the story was interesting enough to keep me playing. If you're a fan of Persona 5, I recommend this to you. It's a really good continuation of the Phantom Thieves story. This was a blast from the past I finally got to experience. This year, the very first Quake title was re-released for modern hardware and was given a new full-length episode for everybody to enjoy. Playing this game really made me appreciate how far id Software has come, and really showed me the foundation on how shooters evolved over time. And it also showed me where modernized classic FPSs get their inspiration from. Every gun feels good to use, hunting for secrets is fun, the game's atmosphere is really interesting to see, the colors are a little bland, but this game still remains a classic to most people, and I finally got to see why this year. The zombie games of recent years have been given a pretty bad rep. It's been poorly executed with bad titles with overused mechanics that haven't really seen much innovation over the years. The mid-2000s most popular gaming genre was dying, and there wasn't much being done about it, until being brought back to life with Back 4 Blood. Being heavily inspired by Valve's Left 4 Dead series, Back 4 Blood brings the Horde-style zombie shooter into the modern age with its highly replayable story mode, customization mechanics, and a remade Horde mode. Rather than being a traditional campaign, Back 4 Blood uses a semi-roguelike system that encourages players to see how far they can get without losing their 2 lives. Depending on how far you make it, you are either sent back to the beginning or back to a story checkpoint that could send you at least 2 to 3 levels back. The levels are also randomized with certain challenges or modifiers to keep players on their toes and from keeping the experience fresh. But this isn't the only thing that makes Back 4 Blood so fun to play. You have access to a customization system known as card decks. As you play the game, you will collect in-game currency called survival points that can be spent back at the hub to buy more cards that have specific modifiers. These cards can only be obtained through gameplay and can be fitted more towards your playstyle the more you collect. Want to be a walking tank that just hits shit with a bat? There's a build for that. Want to be a fast-paced shotgunning demon? Go for it. Want to be the best loot goblin that ever existed? Pile on all those treasure multiplier cards and start rolling in it. There are also multiple characters to play with, each specializing in different areas. My favorite to play is Doc, who mainly focuses on healing and moving fast. But that doesn't make me weaker than other characters, as the guns are customizable with weapon mods that can be found in chests. And every gun feels insanely satisfying to shoot. They all feel unique and, of course, powerful. This game made zombies fun again, and it's a blast to play with friends. So gather up some buddies and start hacking through the undead together. This was a title that really just came out of nowhere, and I'm very shocked to see how little people are talking about this gem of a game. Blasphemous is a Metroidvania that focuses on difficulty and exploration. As you traverse through this dark, rotting world, you will find yourself constantly surrounded by some of the most beautiful pixel art I have ever seen, but it's also extremely gross. You play as the Penitent One, the soldier tasked with freeing the Holy Land from this impending doom. The only downside of this game that I've found is that it's insanely cryptic and very difficult to understand its dialogue. I understand the vibe it's going for, but it's too difficult to understand with my tiny brain. Thankfully, the UI is easy to navigate and very clear on what area you are in and where you haven't explored. But the game is still hard as hell. The bosses look amazing and are fair in their abilities. You can also find hidden passageways that you can use to increase your stats and give some more power to your sword. This underrated gem was amazing to play and wasn't that expensive. If you're looking for a challenging, creepy game to test your skills, I recommend Blasphemous. I am a huge Shovel Knight fan. The gameplay is fun, the music slaps, and all the campaigns are fun to play. When I first saw Pocket Dungeon, I was skeptical because it looked like an overpriced mobile game at first, and I've never been so happy to be wrong. Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon is a full-fledged roguelike puzzle game with its own story and extremely satisfying style of progression. The more you play, the more items you can unlock to make your runs more efficient, and you can unlock the other knights from the game that each play differently, making it feel like a different way of solving puzzles. For example, Plague Knight poisons any enemies he hits, making chains easier, but has less health. Spectre Knight takes damage from health potions, but heals off of string kills. And with a large group of characters, you can play in many different ways. Not to mention the music is amazing. I will say that as many times as it takes when I am playing a game. If the music's good, it's getting bonus points from me. This game is a perfect example of taking a simple concept and bringing out its full potential. Please give Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon a try. You won't regret it. Okay, we all have to admit the big vampire lady made us all horny at the beginning of 2021. Come on, fess up. Okay, now we can move on. Thankfully, Resident Evil Village was actually really fucking good on top of that. I was insanely impressed on how every area explored in this game was a different way of horror. The castle gave me Haunted Mansion vibes, except with bugs. The lake was like a Jaws film, and the metal factory was like I was in a steampunk nightmare. And every enemy had such a cool personality that fit the area perfectly. Ethan was kind of bland, but I didn't really care because of how much fun I was having exploring the village and fighting monsters. And yes, I know I skipped over the dollhouse, but it's because it's my least favorite area. Not because it was poorly designed or anything. It's that fucking baby. It creeps me out. It genuinely makes me feel uncomfortable. I can't look at it. I can't hear it. I fucking hate it. I want to burn it with fire. And it's the only fucking reason I haven't started a second playthrough, because I hate it that much. Kill it fast. Burn the mountain, not the house, the mountain. No chances. Kill it. I fucking hate it. Ugh. Even with how much the baby monster freaked me out, that just shows how great the horror elements are in this game. And even though I want it eradicated off the face of the planet, I respect its inclusion. But stay the fuck away from me. Oh yeah, also play Resident Evil 8. It's good. Mario 3D World was one of the Wii U's best titles. Solid platforming, amazing level designs, and of course, an amazing soundtrack. With it being re-released in 2021, it also had a new bite-sized Mario game included with it, Bowser's Fury. And even though it was short, it was absolutely a blast to play. And I 100%ed it day one. A lot of other creators claim that this game is a glimpse into 3D Mario's future, and I can't help but agree. Rather than having multiple levels to explore, you play in an open world that expands the more you progress. And each area has its own different style of traversal and setting. And having the ability to travel back and forth between areas with fast travel and Plessy was just a blast. There's also a new mechanic of storing multiple power-ups to be equipped however you want, wherever you want. And of course, the coolest, most terrifying version of Bowser we have ever seen. He's absolutely massive and scary with a dark color palette with blazing red fire hair. Just seeing him slowly rise from the sea only to make it rain with meteors and giant falling spikes is actually terrifying. It's just a very cool change, and I hope Nintendo continues to experiment with Bowser's image. This game alone made the re-release purchase absolutely worth it, and when you're done, you get to play another amazing Mario game. Now, let's get into number 1. This may be a controversial pick for my number 1 slot, but it's my list, and this game really made me happy when playing it. Halo Infinite is 343's third shot at trying to bring Halo back into the spotlight. And while it's a hit or miss among fans, I believe the game plays extremely well and is a step in the right direction with bringing Chief back into glory. The campaign is a bold step, bringing Halo into an open world setting with special areas littered all over the map. And while the gameplay loop may be a bit repetitive, I still had fun. Especially traveling with the grapple shot, making me feel like I'm Spider-Man. Swinging from tree to tree, hijacking enemy vehicles from afar. The story is meh, but it gets the job done. And the multiplayer feels like Halo 3 being brought back into the modern era, with its choice to remove loadouts and relying more on map knowledge rather than ordnance drops or just spawning with good weapons right away. Now, there are some features and problems I have, but I'm going to save those details for the 2-part review I'm making on this game, so I'm asking for your patience. But the biggest reason this made it to the top of my list is that it got me and my friends back playing Halo again. A title we all grew up with that's easily accessible and now free to play with cross-compatible with Xbox and PC. It's just a good time. The laughing, the friendly banter, and now new inside jokes between us has made me extremely happy, and I cannot wait to play more when we get the time. So there you have it. Those were my top 10 games of 2021. I hope you enjoyed it. Well guys, that's it. That's my top 10 list of 2021. I'm sorry that this video came out later than I expected. Just been trying to do a lot more recently, and I'm glad that I was able to complete this video and actually get it out in January, which is nice. I mean, even last year's came out, and January, but it was a lot earlier. Now, as you can tell by me mumbling, I'm going off script. This is my first in-face, in-card, with of course some new toys. I invested in a tripod, this green screen, and I plan on doing a lot more with these new tools that I have, and hopefully that they will express my creativity in my future videos. But I always like to just talk to you guys at the end of each video, just to kind of relate, ask how you're doing, all that fun stuff. So as of right now, I am currently investing most of my time into some challenges that I have set for this new year, and I will be able to resume full speed of video production come mid-February. Now, will a video come out in February? I'm not sure, but I'm very sure that one's going to come out in March, because the projects I have on my board over there are a bit extensive, but I promise you they will be higher in quality, higher in production, just everything. I'm so looking forward to having practically my own studio set up, and I plan on expanding it more as time goes on. A lot's changed. Obviously, I look different. Believe it, I've lost about over 55 pounds now since I started the Hard 75 challenge back in May of last year. I was able to complete that, dropped my first 30 pounds. Over time, dropped another 20 pounds, and now I'm doing a hard 45 with my cousin in preparation for his wedding, so we can both be a bit in better, even more better shape for his wedding. And hopefully by the time that rolls around, I'll be below 200 pounds, and I'm very close. I'm at 203. Honestly, just a couple more weeks of hard work, and I will have that goal beaten. And I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling a bit more confident in myself, obviously, because now I'm filming myself. It's great. I know the audio is a bit shit right now. I will invest in a mic, hopefully that's Bluetooth, so I can connect this to my phone, and then we'll have better sounding audio, and maybe I'll put some soundproofing up on the walls in here, or maybe get a sound cage, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you that sticks around and is patient and watches my videos when they come out. It really means a lot to me, and it motivates me to keep going. Now, if there's any requests or something like that, I guess leave a comment, but we'll see what comes along. I do plan on live streaming again. I want to bring back Smash viewer battles. I want to maybe live stream when I'm editing. So for anyone who has questions about Adobe Premiere or maybe even Lightworks, I can answer it for you live, because I know that you guys really love the Lightworks tutorial on how to move the images with keyframes and whatnot. And some of you even enjoyed the second one I've done on transitions. I plan on doing another one for green screening for both Adobe Premiere and Lightworks for anyone who's interested in that. And of course, I'll try to keep it short, sweet, to the point, and all that. Anyway, done rambling for now. I hope you enjoyed this list. Look forward to better, longer, better production videos in the future. And yeah, I can't wait to see where this year takes me. See you, everybody. Have a good 2022.